So the AK Masters is one of the biggest events all year for us Kalash enthusiasts, and for some folks out there, one of the only matches you might attend all year. To help make the most of it, I've put some tips, tricks, and tidbits together from training with mostly AKs and competing with mostly AKs for more than a year now. I'm aiming this primarily at the AK Masters since it's a month or two away, and it's what I've been personally training for specifically for a little bit now, but this kind of stuff will apply to just running an AK in a match in general, or just training with an AK. So at the Masters, most of what they do is going to be a stock on belt empty chamber start. So what that looks like is empty chamber, mag in, safety can be off, stock on belt right here, buzzer's going to go, bang. So with that stock on belt start, I found that for 16-inch barrel guns, and this one with the can gets to about 16 inches, if you've got the tip your muzzle or your suppressor about holding your arm out, first knuckle to tip your thumb, about that far beneath whatever target you're shooting if you're not going to be moving on that first shot. And what that does is when that buzzer goes off, that puts the gun right up where it needs to be rather than tip your muzzles on that target and you bring it to your shoulder, you're too high, you got to bring it down. You tip your muzzle straight out like this, and you bring the gun up, now you got to bring it up into the target. So when it comes to reloads and speed, what you don't want to be doing is coming back, grabbing your mag, kicking it out, and then going for the new one. What that does is that you've come here, you've gone away from it, and you come back here. If you go from your gun straight to a new magazine, and I don't personally care for kicking it out like this, but I do use my thumb to push out the old one and then get that new one in there. You don't have to come to this position twice. You're out and in on the same motion, and then you can get back up into it.
So with those reloads, you want to make sure you're planning them and executing them at the right times. The worst thing you can do is run up to a target, go to shoot your gun, and pull the trigger, get a click, no bang. You'll have to reload the gun, rack it, and that's going to put 3 or 4 seconds at the very best on your time. If you've got a spot where you're moving position to position without shooting, that's a perfect opportunity to top off your magazine and get some fresh rounds in your gun. Because for the most part, we're not working with bolt holdopens on these AKs. Even if you reload it, you might run up to a target and end up with a click, no bang. All you have to do in that case is rack the gun, which is still quicker than doing a full reload. So, height of reborn, point of impact. I'm not going to go too deep on this, but what I will say is that whether you come from a different platform or you just don't get enough time on your AK, for the Masters specifically, you'll need to know your point of impact to about 200 yards, and you'll probably have to know your point of impact shift for close targets into about 7 yards. If you don't ever get the chance to go out to a long range and figure out what your holds are, shooterscalculator.com is a really good tool for punching in all the different numbers related to your rifle and getting a table that should be pretty accurate to where your gun's going to hit at any given distance depending on your zero. Outside of that, if you want to know more about this topic, there's some pretty good videos I'll throw up on screen now from Delta 34 that should encompass just about everything here. Knowing your holds pays off big time. I'll roll in some footage here from the Carolina Kalash Classic sometime in 2024. I was shooting a red dot on a 5.56 Zastava M90. My squad of 10 shooters only had 2 people finish this stage without parring out, me being one of them with a red dot. Almost every shooter in the squad, despite having magnification of some type on their rifle, didn't know their holds and were not able to finish this course of fire. The lower 1/3 co-witness red dot mounted to the dust cover of my AK is going to give me about a 3.5-inch height over bore. And what that's going to do at a 50-yard zero is give me 2 inches of point of impact under my point of aim at 7 yards. 2 inches isn't a whole lot in the grand scheme of things, but when it comes to alpha zone hits, you just might drop a Charlie, you could hit a no-shoot, you could make a Mike if you don't compensate 2 inches, or if you're just that close to the edge of the target for any given reason. You might also have to cant your rifle to the right or left to shoot off any given obstacle they put in front of you, whether it's at the Masters or some other match, so you better be familiar with how your point of impact is going to shift as you cant your gun, what that's going to do, both past your zero distance and inside of it.
Another quality of life thing that's real small when you're finished up is that when you go to unload your rifle, take your mag out. This is for my extended charging handle friends. If you take your hand, flat blade it like this, and use it to press your charging handle, you are now covering the chamber where the round's going to come out of, and it winds up right in your hand. You don't have to go digging in the grass or anything for your loose round, and you don't get it dirty. Not that the AK cares.
I can't teach you how to shoot, but I can say you should be at least familiar with navigating stages and shooting from weird positions and angles. There's plenty of shooting offhand at this match, but there will also be a lot of supported shooting off of things that aren't quite natural, and that supported shooting is going to be at steel at distance. As for any match, figure out your game plan while you have a chance to walk through and decide how you want to navigate that stage quickly without missing targets. Not making a stage plan is how you do something like walking into a house and skipping 2 targets that you now can't leave the house to go back for. And no matter how fast you are, blowing past targets like that isn't something you can outshoot. The AK Masters will test a lot of different skills, so there are a lot of right ways to train for it. If you're able, address your weak spots in training, and it'll also never hurt to be able to handle your firearm better. Thanks for watching, and good luck at your next match.